do this work to be in community. And we can't have community without the people. So thank you so much for coming. My name is Amanda Johnston. I'm the founder and executive director of Torch Literary Arts. I am also your Texas Poet Laureate.
Yes. Yes.
And for those of you who don't know about Torch, haven't heard about Torch yet, Torch Literary Arts is a nonprofit organization based right here in Austin, Texas, that intentionally supports Black women writers with love and support. So what we do is we pay writers to publish their work in our online magazine, Torch Magazine. You can read that for free online at torchliterary.org. We also have incredible workshops that are also open to BIPOC and non-binary folks to join, because we believe in spreading the resources and the wealth so that everyone can benefit. They say, what? A rising tide lifts all boats. Black women are the tide.
Yes.
And we're rising and bringing everyone in with us. So we felt it important, though, to have our second annual Carrying the Torch event. Woo-hoo. Yes. Thank you so much for, here come the little sprinkles. They're just baby sprinkles. We'll be all right. But to be back here at the memorial, because it's significant, right? Yesterday was Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth, everybody.
Happy Juneteenth.
Yesterday was Juneteenth, and we know what that means. That's when enslaved Africans in Galveston finally got word over 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. But what we know is that the work was only just beginning. It wasn't done. It was just starting. So what we're doing here at Torch Literary Arts and celebrating Carrying the Torch with this event is to acknowledge the work that was still yet to come and the people that are continuing to carry that torch today, right? We have incredible folks in our community. We have incredible artists. We have incredible writers who are doing everything they can to make sure that through literature, they are amplifying the voices of those marginalized, especially Black women writers.
How y'all feeling? Y'all full? All right, well, the food is still open next door. Shout out to Michelle's Catering. If y'all need a caterer, Michelle's Catering got y'all covered. Black owned, woman owned business right here in Austin. Do support Michelle's Catering, but there'll be some left. We want you to please go and get more after. And thank y'all for rocking with us and being flexible tonight. Like I said, we can't control the outside elements, but we can control ourselves, what's in this room and what's in our heart. So thank y'all so much for showing up in good spirit and good word. Yes? Yes. So my name again is Amanda Johnston. I'm the founder and executive director of Torch Literary Arts. I am also your 2024 Texas Poet Laureate. And the most important thing about that title to me is that I get to amplify other voices in the state. So be looking for some incredible programming coming from Torch and from me during the tenure of my laureateship. But tonight, we are here for the second annual Carrying the Torch event. Round of applause for everyone who came up. Incredible speakers and poets for you tonight. We do this event intentionally on June 20th, the day after Juneteenth, to signify all of the work that is yet to come. Take a moment to think about that really quickly. That, that time when they got the word 2.5 years after Emancipation Proclamation was signed, that the Union soldiers pulled into Galveston and said, "You're free." Imagine what that felt like. And then think about the day after. And the day after that. And when the Union soldiers left. Right? So much more work to be done. But we are here living in the future and the possibilities that were there just in that moment of freedom. Right? It is never lost on me what so many millions and millions of people had to go through, had to endure, had to die for, to make this moment possible for us. And so with that, I will always create spaces for joy, to celebrate, to come together, to lift each other up, because this moment wasn't promised to us, but we here anyway.
Yes.
Right. Yes? Yes? All right, we're gonna bring up our first speaker, okay? Dwee. Dwee Smith is a survivor who is finding her voice in all aspects of her life and asserting the necessity of all who have played small or been made small to do the same. She is a proud member of the Safe Alliance Board of Directors and vice chair of the historic East Austin's Austin Rosewood Community Development Corporation Board, which partners in charting a path for the millennium as a historically significant site. She is serving her second appointment to the African American Resource Advisory Commission, put commissioner on her name, and lead strategic plan and development to increase goal and process transparency, ultimately for more meaningful community impact. Smith is the quintessential big sister and auntie, and a joyful active member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Inc. Please welcome Dewey Smith.
I am neither a speaker nor a poet, so I will be reading, but notice this came from the heart, and this came out of the poet. Thank you. Thank you. So I will be reading my reflections for Juneteenth, and there will be some assignments for all of you.
Oh, yes.
My appointment as the District 1 representative to the African American Resource Advisory Commission brought me to this time and this place. I am grateful to Torch and Amanda Johnston for seeing me and welcoming my voice. All of my ancestors are shocked and cheering. Thank you. My calling in this community is to understand the things and the systems that can empower us to do more with our seats at the table. For me, this has meant building and sharing relationships and earning seats at tables to invite and elevate others. It means standing in the gap to help facilitate understanding between leaders of different generations. It's meant being the type of person a broad range of people and organizations choose to trust and care to work with. Role and title aside, let me offer some background as context for my comments to come. I'm born and raised Kansas, with all of my family roots throughout the state of Louisiana, meaning I'm used to race, history, and related feelings being discussed in an unfiltered fashion. Feelings be damned.
Right.
I'm a second generation HBCU graduate, and for the uninitiated, that is historically Black colleges and universities. Meaning, I will find or have already read many of the books being banned. My mother, she had me 6 years after being granted the right to vote. She cared for the community through her calling as a teacher and a principal, meaning she believed Blackness and poverty were circumstances she and others could surmount, rather than predictors of failure. My father sought his dignity through military service. This is after his aspirations to attend his local college were derailed by a 1954 interview for his thoughts on desegregation. You can still find that online. Throughout his adult life, he raised hell, as he should, based on all he survived. He got a gold tooth after the age of 70 in honor of his day. As a purveyor of unapologetic Blackness, he role models for me feeling some kind of way about blatant racism and about anyone who imagined they would regard me as less than. This is the recipe of me. I'm not from here, I'm not from here. Now, that is not a statement on the greater or lesser value of my perspective on Juneteenth. It is simply an important lens for my reflections to come. After 13 years in this community, I still might be an outsider according to those born and raised in Austin. I don't know how long you have to be here to say that. I don't know. I'm most definitely an outsider to those born and raised in Texas. However, I see value in maintaining a certain degree of outsider status. To not be from a place allows for a potentially valuable objectivity in considering the ways of being and the history of a place. Let me tell you this. Before moving to Texas, I did not celebrate Juneteenth. Let me say it again. I would not celebrate Juneteenth. I knew about it, but thinking about Juneteenth hurt my heart and made me angry in a way that festered. Let me take you there. As Amanda said, I currently sit on the board of the Safe Alliance. This is a group that works to prevent and mitigate all forms of human abuse. From that work, I'll borrow modern language to paint for you the picture I carried in my disdain for Juneteenth. To be enslaved is to be absent of autonomy. To be enslaved is to be kidnapped and human trafficked. It is to be raped repeatedly. It is to be forcefully married and casually separated from loved ones. It is to be bred like animals. It is to be tortured with random, creative, and sadistic measures. It is to have your labor extracted indefinitely for free. And Texas chose to continue these acts for 2.5 years beyond Lincoln's militarily strategic emancipation in 1863. That offended me. More importantly, and more honestly, it saddened me that people would be so unkind to people. I was stuck in the mourning the unrecognized humanity of the enslaved, mourning the unimagined human potential, mourning a state that consciously and strategically conspired to keep Black people unaware of their freer status and enslaved just a little bit longer. In 2022, I gained a new view on Juneteenth. That view was that we had a choice to survive and celebrate. Post-COVID, I watched my first Juneteenth parade not far from here, as we are in historic East Austin. The old and young faces, the bright eyes, the colorful braids, the tight fades, and the pure joy took my breath away. Seeing our local Black community celebrate ourselves and invite others to join in the joy made me reconsider my mourning. I too chose joy. This left me feeling more connected and believing that this community could become a version of home. Once I cared, that left me hungry to know how we got there, literally. How were 250,000 humans enslaved in Texas, yet able to remain in their right minds through the horrors of enslavement and have their joyful, authentic descendants converge on East Austin each Juneteenth? So first, I challenge us to think deeply on what was required for enslaved Texans to reach and reap the benefits of Juneteenth. Think on this. They individually had to sustain the will and fortitude to stay with nothing beyond faith, allowing them to imagine a tomorrow less hellish than all of their yesterdays. The sun was just as damn hot, with the heat unrelenting as they daily worked from can't see to can't see. For the uninitiated, that's from sun up to sundown. I'm gonna tell you, I can barely get from the HEB to my car without thinking I'm gonna fall out. They did that. And in case anyone is thinking of it, I'm gonna call that thinking out. A kind enslaver was still the bane to an enslaved in the land of freedom. Second, I challenge us to think about the coordination and moral alignment required for an entire state to keep freedom a secret in service to stabilizing the economy. Lastly, I challenge us, as I challenged myself, to reimagine the world of the enslaved beyond survival. We are a people who dreamt, we are a people who loved, we are a people who laughed and thought, and who might have made the great state of Texas that much greater, that much sooner, had we been free to participate and contribute. The funny thing about Black history in these United States is that it's unruly, kind of like our hair, It doesn't stay in its place. There's always a through line to the present. Admitting and understanding our history helps us connect the then to the now. The historical through line for me is participation and contribution. We can't change the past, we can't change Texas choices. However, we are Texas 2024 and have the power to do different. On Instagram, I follow an account, it's called Lily Shepherd Moves. She's a Black woman. She did a recent post proposing self-advocacy as self-care. She ends with the thought, it's just using your voice. What if we expand her thought for the Austin community and apply it now? Can we, particularly you who do not live a Black experience, begin to see Black community advocacy as community care? Can we begin to see local Black activism as self-advocacy scaled and self-care scaled? Can we see Black women using their individual voices and amplifying lesser heard voices as self-advocacy, community advocacy, and care? If so, how can each of us be of service to their efforts? In the roles I've chosen to serve in this community, I constantly think of two critical aspects denied the enslaved. That is voice and choice. These are the twin flames of freedom. Today, as a free-ish woman of color in Texas, I embrace those as privileges. And I honor the spirit of Juneteenth and the miraculous survival of Black Texans by relentlessly promoting and supporting the same for all other subcategories of Black people. That is Black women, Black family within the LGBTQIA+ community, our differently abled, our elders, our differently educated or not, our white collar, blue collar, or no collar workers, our formerly and currently incarcerated, our passported and privileged, our addicts, and our unhoused. If you also see voice and choice as worthy goals, begin to think of Juneteenth not as a holiday, but as a service day, a day to be in service. There's perpetual work, you said this, toward true freedom. And it's yes, amen?
Yes.
Okay, it is your personal responsibility to find your assignment. Okay? How might this look? And I'm almost done. This could be encouraging and amplifying the Black voice. This day, for me, it has been fighting through imposter syndrome with my hands shaking to speak to you. It might look like nudging others to the front. And cheering them to use their untapped gifts. It might mean coaching and questioning emerging leaders to polish their presentations and products until they shine. Specifically for Black women in Austin, this can mean welcoming Black leadership and ideas and understanding that survival in Black bodies is a lived experience worth tangible value. Do not expect access and explanation for free. Be relational, not transactional. We are worth knowing. Ensuring Black choice can be any effort supporting and expanding our choices of where we live and the quality of the environments where we have lived historically and want to remain. This can be access to meaningful work, facilitated by affordable quality childcare, safe public transportation, and access to quality education. Or it can be how safe we remain in the course of our Black Lives Mattering. This could be timely progress on thoughtful public safety policy, and whether our stories are cherished and remembered. This could be enacted in financial support and ongoing community input against historical reframing and erasure of our contributions and sacred spaces. In closing, I'll leave you with a few thoughts, and I told you I would give you a few assignments. I want you to think about this. Who are you? And who you are, once you know that, how can you use that to help you find your calling in the work of liberation? And finally, what is your role in ensuring that the mindset that put our freedom on hold does not manifest as your modern day mediocrity or an ebbing in the lack of urgency? Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Dewey Smith, please. I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to learn more about Dewey and learn more about the commissioner position that she has and the work she's doing with SAVE Alliance, the work that she's doing with the Millennium Complex. We have incredible leaders, not just in this city, in this room, okay? So whenever you're feeling like you know, what do I do? How can I help? She just gave us all the assignment. Let's get busy. Thank you so much, Dewey. We're gonna bring up our next speaker. Next we have Amanda Moore. She is from Temple, Texas, and has resided in Austin for over 20 years. She is a writer, attorney, and book reviewer. She attended the University of Mary Hardin Baylor and graduated summa cum laude with a Bachelor of Arts degree in English and Spanish. She received her law degree from the University of Texas School of Law. Amanda has worked as General Counsel and Director of Legal Services at the Texas State Teachers Association and represented employees at Texas Public Schools, colleges, and universities. In 2015, Amanda's short story, The Corner Man, received the highest award in a state short story competition sponsored by the Texas Bar Journal. Her short story, Reflections, was published by Akashic Books, Austin Noir in 2023. Amanda has reviewed books for Publishers Weekly and is a contributor to Diverse Voices Book Review. Amanda has served as a member of the Board of Directors for the Writers League of Texas and is currently a member of the Board of Directors for the Texas Book Festival. Please welcome Amanda Moore.
I should tall. And I still wear heels for my tallness. Yeah. Thank you.
I too am very tall.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome. and I'm excited to be here and grateful for the invitation and opportunity to speak with you today. I especially want to thank Amanda Johnson for her leadership and her vision for this extraordinary organization. Now, I'm not just saying that because we share the same name, but I believe in the power of support and encouragement, and I thank you for giving us a platform here. As you know, the theme that we are focusing on today is called Carrying the Torch. It is amazing what this phrase signifies, and that it invokes the thought of guiding the way for others, but also bearing the burden of being a visionary in a world that always seems set on putting out the light that you carry within yourself. We have to change that, and it truly starts with a decision to do so. I believe in the power of encouragement. It was instilled in me as a young girl in Temple, Texas by my mother, who was a businesswoman and a visionary in her own right. So tonight, I want to speak to those individuals who need to feel seen, to feel heard, and who need to be encouraged on the path that they have chosen for themselves. It is life-changing to fully realize who you are. To realize that you are a person of purpose, of power, of influence, and to do so with both humility and gratitude. Toni Morrison once said that a writer's life and work are not a gift to mankind, they are its necessity. If you are a writer, which I believe many of you are in here, you realize that what you share with the world, though empowering to you, may not be understood by others. You must, however, continue on your journey, even when it becomes hard, exhausting, or frustrating. We need your voice. We need your perspective. We need your talent. We need it now more so than ever. Just last week, my family and I traveled to our nation's capital. We visited the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. Why do I mention it tonight? And at the time, at the museum, and even with the beautiful memorial that you see on our Capitol's lawn. When you go to a place that talks about Black history, it teaches you a few things. More importantly, it is American history. It shows you where we have been, what we have accomplished, and most importantly, what we have been through in the 405 years since the first slave set foot on American shores in 1619. Learning about your history is an essential part about learning about who you are. As writers, our essays, our poems, and our novels demonstrate our pain, express our emotions, and encapsulate our vast experiences that make us who we are. I must prepare you for this journey and what you might experience. As writers and lovers of literature, we empathize, criticize, and analyze everything that we read or listen to. So I know who I'm speaking when I tell you this. Learning about your history will humble you. It will anger you. It will shock you. It will enlighten you. It will liberate you. But most importantly, it will empower you. How can you carry the torch, a flame that shines in the darkness, a flame that illuminates the path for others and yourself, if you do not realize the significance or recognize the honor and the privilege of the burden that you carry? What exactly do you need to get you there? First, you have to know who you are. We are the survivors of our own doubts. We are girls who have suffered and women who have overcome. We are veterans of wars we did not start. We are readers of books that the world tries to ban. We are writers of books that our ancestors were forbidden to read. It is not an easy journey on your path to self-realization. You will feel discouraged. You will feel unseen. And once again, you experience exhaustion. Angela Davis once wrote that Black women have paid a heavy price for the strengths they have acquired and the relative independence they have enjoyed. As for me, I believe that once you find the courage to do what you love to do, you will value and appreciate your struggle because it gave you incalculable strength and invaluable insight on your path. Second, you must be unapologetic about the path you have chosen. It is your vision, your dream, your truth. You are stronger than you realize, and if you read your history, you will see that you are not the only one who faced hardship. You are truly the heroine of your own story. Are you trying to publish a book, a novella, a book of poetry? In a world that cries for diversity, but no one seems to want to publish it? Are you receiving denials in your emails, or worse, no responses at all? Are you questioning whether you are really a writer, an artist, a poet, because someone does not understand who you are? You are not alone in your struggle. For your sake, you must continue to press forward even when others do not understand. Whatever the goal, and remember, it can change, walk into your vision and your purpose. And don't be surprised if you look behind you and see someone else following your path. They might ask for your help and look to you for guidance on how to run a race that someone else designed. So I say, publish the book yourself. Start the company you envision. Accept the opportunity that you did not expect. Forgive yourself for not understanding your purpose sooner, and use that realization to move forward with renewed resolve and determination. And finally, how do you keep your light shining brightly and be a beacon for others in a world where it seems everyone wants to extinguish it? You must believe in your vision when others do not. Many of us are first in our family, the first one to go to college, the first one to graduate school, the first to own a business, the first to start a nonprofit organization, the first to write a book, and the first to fulfill your dreams. It can be lonely when you feel that you are the only one holding the light. But I say, love yourself even when others do not. Forgive yourself even when others will not. Trust in yourself even when you are not sure what direction you are going. Remember who you are and walk into your future with a purpose and a will that will carry you through the cacophonous naysayers, the continuous debaters, the unflattering imitators, and for my friends, even the incessant and opinionated writer-readers. I make up. We are women of great talent and promise. We are enough. I will leave you with this quote from First Lady Michelle Obama in her book, Becoming. She wrote the following: "It's not about being perfect. It's not about where you get yourself in the end. There's power in allowing yourself to be known and heard, in owning your unique story, in using your authentic voice. And there's grace in being willing to know and hear others. This, for me, is how we become." Thank you.
I didn't get strong real quick. Yay, we did it! Another round of applause for Emmanuel. All right, let's keep this going. We have two incredible poets. If you don't already know these amazing women, you should definitely follow them online. We're going to start first with Diamond Braxton. Diamond Braxton, they is a queer, mixed-race, Black Chicana writer, editor, and educator based in Texas. Their work appears in Best Microfiction 2023, Sundress Publications Best of the Net Anthology, The Forge, Foglifter, Stanchion, Hellbore Press, Emily, and others. She is a 2023 Lambda Literary Retreat Fellow and a 2021 Tin House Fellow, and will be attending Tin House again, Big Flex, in 2024. She is the founder of Adobe Press, a new 501c3 anti-racist intersectional publishing press dedicated to uplifting underrepresented voices. They are currently working on their first collection of short stories. Please welcome Diamond Braxton.
Thank you so much for having me, Torish, and to Amanda, and to what wonderful speakers. I'm nervous, but we're gonna do this. I do have some heavy poems, but it was important to me to think about when we're talking about liberation, the continuation of freedom and what that looks like. The first thought that always comes to my head is my father. My father was incarcerated for half of his life, and something that I think a lot of people don't know about is in Texas, only 1/3 of the prisons have ACE. And so I wanted to write a poem to sort of talk about that. So I'm gonna just go ahead and start reading it. This is called How a Diamond Forms. Sometimes I wonder if my father made me diamond because we're from Houston, a city where the heat breaks records every year, where the oil and gas refineries fog the skyline, where the Gulf Coast pressurizes the air. Houston, the perfect place for a diamond to crystallize, where a name may be given as a protection spell in hopes this heat won't melt the child like it did her father. Because we're from Houston, where the politicians don't represent us, where the policeman took half my father's life, stuck in a jail cell, where prisons don't have AC and the people have to sue just so the prisoners can breathe, just so Black bodies don't cook in the heat. A city where a father has to lay on the tiled floor just to feel cold, where climate change is debatable because everyone knows someone who works in oil and gas, where refineries fog the skyline, where surely the tiled floor can't be the only place to feel release. No, I will not tell you what he did because no one should have to justify their need to live. My father named me diamond because I'm a gem formed from this heat and humidity and pressure, a city where the people have to pressure the politicians to build better prisons, where men and women have died locked up for petty crimes with their internal body temperatures recorded at 106 degrees, a city where my father lost half his life, sweating, lying on a tiled floor, dreaming of diamonds and November mornings, dreaming of a city where the Abbotts and Paxtons cared to listen, but instead, the cold comes and the winter fogs the glass, and the refineries and highway traffic still pollute the skyline, and the tiled floor is now too cold, and the bed is not warm enough. And my father and the men and their families pray for the heat to come back around, having already forgotten which punishment is worse. So yesterday I actually hosted a Juneteenth event at Preacher Front, and my friend KB, yes, KB, you should all buy their memoir, Pretty. It just came out. It definitely support Black trans writers in Austin, Texas. And something they said was really relatable to me. They said, wow, I really love being able to be Black and queer in a space and not have to choose a part of myself in order to be and exist. And that really resonated with me. I'm mixed race, queer, gender questioning, there's a lot going on, and I always feel like in my spaces I have to sort of choose on how I'm going to present because I feel like I can't be all parts of me. Right. And so I wrote something to sort of talk about that as well. As we talk about liberation and moving forward, I want to live in a future where people don't have to decide who they're going to be in order to feel accepted, right? And, so this is called Crossroads. The more intersections the body has, the harder it is to map. Yet, hands try to guide me down one path. For Black, go down this road over the hips. For queer, go up and around the broad shoulders. For Mexican, go straight towards the tongue. For questioning gender, stay right where you are. The problem navigator, or map maker, or dad, mom, girlfriend, boyfriend, abuela, granny, little cousin, lady at my door talking about the census, doctor, pastor, prosecutor, officer, white America, white institutions, white Latinos, white people, is that there is no direction. Every time I take a step, the crossroad follows. I'm a body in a fusion. I'm a forever intersection. There are no crossings here. There is no picking a side when you're in the middle of yourself. Thank you. So I wanted to read one more. This one is a bit heavier, so let's all just take a deep breath real quick. So when thinking about Black liberation and liberation for all people, something that I can't get off my mind, as I'm sure most of us can, is the ongoing genocide in Palestine. So when thinking of my Palestinian brothers and sisters, the people in Congo and Sudan, liberation for all, we can't all be free until we're all free. And last Saturday, I had to bury my great-grandmother, and the month before that, my ex-girlfriend died in a motorcycle accident. And something that I've been navigating is dealing with personal grief in the midst of international grief, of big grief, and how do we deal with that grief? And so this poem talks about that, and this is titled, I lose my ex and great-grandmother around the same time I watch. A video of a boy without a head, a father holding a son without a head. My ex-girlfriend killed on I-10 weeks before, motorcycle accident. Gigi died in her sleep, Momo quietly says into the phone, the sun still stretching its way into the sky. In my Black feminist class, a classmate asks, why do some people get to die harsh and others soft? Who chooses? Why did the truck crash into her bike at 10 a.m.? What does it mean to die in daylight? Motorcycles don't have seatbelts. There are no more hospitals in Rafah. She died on impact. She died in her sleep. It was supposed to be a safe zone. How do we know the boy was a boy if he didn't have a head? Her mom calls me. We haven't talked since her daughter took me to prom. You have 1 hour to get here before the girl's body you used to love goes to organ transplant, then cremated. Innocent bodies burn in Rafah. Gigi's body will burn in controlled fire in Montgomery, Texas. Nobody wants to be buried in a box anymore. Nobody wants to be alone anymore. Momo wants to put her mother's ashes into a necklace, press Gigi to her chest. The father holds the boy close but away from his chest. There is more blood and screaming than there is his body. Who will get the liver, the kidneys, the heart that used to love me when I was a teenager? The classmate asks again, who chooses? And I want to know too. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, one more round of applause for Brian and Braxton. That's what it's about. Before we bring up our last poet and speaker for the evening, I just want to acknowledge, if we are free, we can talk about all the things. I'll say that's one of the first indicators of how free you truly are, is how hard you bite your tongue. Right? Thank you for being free and speaking and saying everything that needs to be said right on time. Thank you. All right, let's keep this great energy going for our next poet, Jasmine Games. Her is a Black and queer spoken word poet and theater practitioner from Houston, Texas. She holds a BA in English and Performance Studies from Texas A&M University and an MFA in Drama and Theater for Youth and Communities from the University of Texas at Austin. Gaines is an award-winning poet and practitioner, including the 2021 Sexton Prize for Poetry from the Black Spring Press Group and the 2021 Winifred Ward Scholarship for Excellence in Youth Drama Theater from the American Alliance for Theater Education. Working in education and social justice in Austin, Texas, she utilizes drama, creative writing, and devised performance to address social injustices with participants of all ages. Please welcome Jasmine Games. We're about the same height, so that's perfect.
yes, just like theater. Well, as was said by the wonderful Amanda, I am Jasmine Games. I am so happy to be here, and I'm so grateful to Torch Literary Arts for giving me a space to share my words. As a theater practitioner who is also a Black woman, the stage is everything, an audience is everything, a microphone is everything, and it is not given to lots of people who deserve it. So I'm so grateful to Torch Literary Arts and Amanda Johnson for giving me a space to share my work. Beautiful. So I wrote this book during the pandemic called Somebody's Daughter, and I'm going to share some words from this book, and then I'll also do some new pieces, a new piece for y'all. This is called Black Love Matters. Everything I love about you, I love about myself. Our noses wide and our eyes almost black, they are so brown. Our strands of hair love one another so much they are hard to pull apart. You know, I run my hand through your afro. It is soft like a dandelion, but strong enough to never be uprooted. My wish is to always be able to do this here with you. Our skin could never be called dirty. When we press together, all that is left between us is something inexplicable, so revolutionary, so pure. We thirst for each other's black was always made a monster, but we know black absorbs so much light, and we are fulgent. And then I have this cute one. I call myself being cute, and when I was studying drama and theater for youth and communities at the University of Texas at Austin, there was a part of time in which it was a pandemic, so we were doing everything online, and we had a lot of writing assignments on top of the already writing assignments we had before. And I got to this point where I was upset because I was doing writing assignments at the same time where there was a lot of racial turmoil and violence going on in the communities, and I was still expected to get on camera and, show up and perform as a student. And so I started responding to the discussion posts and course assignments with poetry, which was also just me trying to write this book. And this is one of the poems I wrote. Fast food. I don't stir the pot, I stir the pot, season it a little. What American may have been on the stove too long, now no one wants to eat it. You ignore the pot while it sits and stews. Does that sound fair to you? Please, after you, take a bite of your privilege too. Sorry if you don't like the food that nourishes you, but you cannot return the sender. So eat it up and eat it well because a new cook is in the kitchen. All right. So something that I really love about slam poetry is that it kind of sits in the middle of literature and theater. And elitists from both sides say that slam poetry is neither, right? Which comes from white supremacy and and something for me, I felt slam poetry gave me a space to be able to have my writing be heard and shared and respected, and it also gave me a space to be able to act and perform and also be respected. And I studied, in my undergrad, I studied spoken word poetry and the history of spoken word poetry in the African American community, and also going back to the origins of oratory in the African community, in our larger diaspora. And then in grad school, I did a project with queer youth of color called Courageous Cadence, where we wrote spoken word poetry pieces together, and in response to our lived experiences and injustices, both injustice and justice, that we see in our society. And I continue to do that program with youth, and right now I'm working with the African American Youth Harvest Foundation on an applied theater project. Applied theater, for those of you who don't know, is when you go out and you make theater with people who have never made theater before. So I'm working with these kids, 13 and up, who may or may not have little to no experience in theater, and we're writing poetry together, and we're writing about our experiences, and then we're putting on a showcase for the rest of the camp. So I'm really excited, and that's one of the things that I do at the Vortex, where I serve as the Director of Education and Social Justice Activation. So yeah, I'm really proud of the work that I do. I think in theater we need to do more stuff where we're responding to communities, because we tell so many stories about people and don't actually go out into the communities of the stories that we are telling. We can do a play about something, but we can't talk to the actor about their personal stuff that directly is talked about in the play. So that's the kind of stuff that bothers me in theater. And working at the Vortex, we're able to sit down and have those conversations and try to figure out how are we going to rally the rest of theater practitioners in Austin to enact justice in our theaters and get more of us in the spaces. So I'm going to read this one more, and then I'm going to do a new piece. Counter memory. I think of Black history. To be clear, I ain't referring to no Black history that is shared to us through white media and educational institutions, telling us what really had happened and how we should feel about it. I'm talking about that Black history that I would have never known if my father's mother's mother had never told. Those who are and were old enough to remember, to live through it, to hear about it when they were a kid, the history that is buried, burned, and belittled, and the history that was struck out of backs so much that mouths would not open and bodies could not remember how they once moved. Minds cannot remember how we as people made thoughts in our heads that were not put there. History that told a culture that did not make it through slavery like some of the slaves who did, despite not knowing what they can't remember, and we are born with all this forgot. Just trying to know something the way we should remember, and not having the ability to recall while Black is to be lost, and some of us lose ourselves to be knowing. Thank you. Down and read something off my phone. But this book is available for purchase, and I have some in a very illustrious cardboard box in the back of the room, which you can buy for me for $20. Beautiful. May I have? Yes. Beautiful. So I dedicate this poem to the late Pastor Joe Allen Games, Sr., founder of Providence Baptist Church. Pastor Games, whom his grandchildren affectionately called Big Daddy, founded the church in 1969 and was a servant leader for 44 years. I must admit, I'm not a real Texan. I am Texan by birth and upbringing, but my kids come from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. In the U.S., the most segregated city, my last name be household in some living rooms full of worn Black faces. I'm a Baptist church princess, granddaughter of a reverend that was revered like royalty, whose father was a sharecropper, and all those before him crawled through fields with hopes that their children will be able to one day walk through plantations and play. My last name is Games. Some say unfitting for a slave, but it was chosen. I won't say who owned us because someone down the line decided to put that behind us. I am a Games. My nuclear family be the first to land in Texas. As far as I know, we've been free for a long time now. I grew up in Houston, where we celebrate holidays of different regions because somebody that belongs to Houston likely belongs to somewhere else. And Houston taught me of the day how those enslaved had to free themselves, and from that moment on, I've been spreading the word. My Juneteenth usually has collard greens, baked mac and cheese, candied yams, pineapple and ham, cornbread with sugar, and pie, pecan or pecan, depending on who's baking it. Freedom tastes good, arteries clogged and heart stopped. Freedom tastes like you get to choose how you come to an end by deciding how you get to live, and it may be unfitting, but it was chosen. Freedom feels like sand between your toes, about as many grains as there was still people enslaved in Galveston Bay. 2 years after the fact, which is a reminder, none of us are free until we are all free. And freedom's not given. It don't really ring in places Black people were hung like Christmas ornaments in July. pictures of the lynching passed around the nation on postcards, but somehow not enough freedom papers get where they're supposed to. It reminds me of how my parents left the city divided by lines, colored in by the shade of people's skin so that their children could have a chance to live. Ironic how history repeats itself. Ironic how Black folks still seek freedom when apparently it was given to us a long time ago. Ironic how we are given a holiday when we ask for reparations they want us to celebrate without acknowledgement. Threw us a surprise party we never wanted and didn't even leave cash in our birthday cards. How meta of a holiday made just for people like me to even be forced to serve the country that oppresses me. But I watched my mom slap someone for calling my sister a fool, because my mama don't raise those. She reminds me to use my tools. I ask myself often, what am I already capable to do? I was called to demand for what my community needs, like Black Union troops. My grandfather crossed the country to spread a gospel north to south and back again. And now, like the great orators before me, Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, Reverend Joe Allen Gaines Sr., and Kendrick Lamar, I stand before you to ask, what to the African American is a nationally recognized federal holiday marking the freedom of what was already supposed to be free Black people? Ironic. Truth says, where there's so much racket, there must be something out of kilter. My grandfather only praised the Lord loud, with lost breath, and he was desperate to save his people. And Kendrick's messages to the masses and melodies, often melancholy, of members still marked and martyred by the aftermath of history. And I, a former princess of the pews, stand at mics like podiums presenting possibilities to a people that were pillaged because this work transcends pulpits. Big Daddy, I know it's not Christianity, but it's my ministry, and sometimes I think I would die trying. And like you, I will not go quiet. Let no man count on my silence. From the north to the south, in our countries of origins, let us all be free. To all those whose stories begin with the enslaved, I hope to one day wish us a happy Juneteenth. Thank you.
Another round of applause. Oh my gosh, I was brought tonight. Thank you so much to everyone who shared. Oh my God, I don't know about y'all, but my well is full. And so how do you fill your well? With this. For all of you. Thank you so much. I want to share two poems. Two really short poems. It's also Pride Month. Happy Pride, everybody. And I'm very proud of this very short poem that is in the current issue of Poetry Magazine as part of the Fire and Ink portfolio that Samia Bashir, wonderful poet, Torch feature, Samia Bashir, and also a founder of Fire and Ink, has curated for Poetry Magazine. If you're not familiar with Fire and Ink, it's an incredible, now becoming an organization, right? And fiscally sponsored by our own Algo. Shout out to Algo. But it is a place to celebrate Black queer writers, right? And they had a conference here. And I was so fortunate to be able to be there and be with my people right when I needed to be. So I wrote this poem for them, but one thing that it mentions in here is about the importance of just showing up. I can't stress enough how much it means that you showed up. We have so much to do in joy and ease. And our celebration is still our, I don't even want to use the F word, fight. It is our perseverance. You show up. And you love. You love yourself, and you love each other in the community that we're in. So, this is for my queer community. This is love. A friend once said, love just means you'll be there. I remember hospital rooms, machines humming softly with life, doctors with thin percentages of hope and heavy brows. The late nights, alone in a parked car, screaming into the void. How we empty ourselves of grief.
and climb love's dark staircase, just to hold hands, just in case. Show up for love. And this last poem I wrote for our beautiful Torch community. All of you are part of the Torch community by showing up and celebrating these incredible Black women writers and making space for literature and the pursuit of writing and reading to live and thrive in our community. I wrote this for us. We carry the torch. Listen, a spark, a slow whisper growing in the filament of the mind. This is how the future begins. Can you hear it? A low murmur rises to give way to impulse, and the wheels of creation are called to spin. Can you feel it? How we, earthbound miracles, paint pictures with words, start fire with a flick of our tongues, a blaze burning from our beating hearts. Can you see it? The light we carry across the page, across the world, a future that greets us with each bright new day when we dare to carry the torch within. Thank you. All right, y'all, a couple of thank yous. First, I want to shout out the facility, the African American Cultural and Historic and Heritage Facility. This is our home on 11th Street, right here in the historic 6 Square District on the east side of Austin. Let's continue to support the facility. There are QR codes. If you see these little sheets on the wall, they're asking you to do a survey. They are planning the future of the facility, and it's us who need to make sure that our voices are heard. So do scan that QR code, take the survey, make sure that they know what we want this to grow into, yes? There's also another QR code over there, and you probably got the little sheet for the next Torch event on June 30th. Say word. We're celebrating, hey, say word, word. We are celebrating Black Music Month, which is also in June, and amplifying Black women songwriters. So we've got the one and only Key Dada of Writers Against the Storm. We've got Megs of Magna Carta. And we've got the beautiful soul singer Maya Sampleton, who are going to come out on June 30th, 2 Antones. We downstairs in the big room this time. They're going to have a panel talking about songwriting, their practice, how they get from page literally to stage. And then they're going to blow us away with a performance. All of them are going to perform that evening. So do scan that QR code, get yourself a ticket, and join us for Say Word on the 30th. I also want to thank the incredible funders who make things like this possible so we can keep it free and accessible to the public, right? Thank you to the City of Austin Cultural Arts Division. We are recipients of the inaugural Thrive Grant. I'm so glad to see that the Thrive Grant is re-up, so that means the city is continuing to invest in its cultural arts and longevity. So do support, your city leaders who are making that possible, your commissioners, your council members, let them know that you enjoy going to things like the Torch, carrying the Torch event, because we get support and funding from them. I also want to shout out the Bernie Johnson Foundation, the Poetry Foundation, the National Endowment for the Arts, all funders of Torch Literary Arts. For believing in our work and seeing the vision and the mission and the future of the work we do to amplify Black women writers today and tomorrow, right? And we also need each and every one of our individual donors. If you don't know about this nonprofit life, let me tell you, it really does take a village, right? So if you are able, please do go to torchliteraryarts.org/support and make a donation. There's no amount that's too small or too large, and it really does go to the incredible work that you see. We believe in paying artists, so they're not artists that you see performing, speaking, unless they volunteer, that is not offer payment for their incredible talent. And we want to continue to do that, and also to support our team that does the behind the scenes work, like my incredible colleague, Brittany Heckard, our communications associate. And also the incredible independent artists who make this happen and capture it. Thank you to Larry Choice, photographer. Thank you to DJ Aquaman Chill. And again, thank you to all of you. Oh, and thank you to Ms. Brenda, who's been holding down the facility for us tonight. And Ms. Shay's Catering for keeping us full. So with that, we're going to turn the music back on. If you haven't gotten to eat, or if you want seconds, go grab you another plate, meet someone new, see Jasmine, and get a copy of that incredible book. My name is Amanda Johnson. Thank you so much for coming out.